But here's the 5 things that you must do in order to have great credit for life. And I want to go over really how I got started in the credit repair industry, why I do what I do, why I created America's first paid on performance credit repair companies, the guys that fix your credit up front and then bill you later. And that's very rare. If you know anything about credit repair, most of the guys aren't good enough, so they charge you up front to practice, or they charge you monthly with no incentive to ever fix your credit, which is why they got to charge up front or why they got to charge monthly, because 1, they don't trust that you're going to pay them. 2, they're not good enough to delete the items quickly enough for you to pay them. And 3, they're not successful enough to have enough money to survive without charging you up front or monthly. In 2006, at the time, I was a fireman for Littleton Fire. My little brother Zeke was also a firefighter in Oregon. And I received a bunch of phone calls from my mother. And when I finally called her back, she had informed me that my little brother Zeke had shot himself and killed himself. And partly due to some credit card debt, some medical bills, and then some personal life issues. Nearly 50,000 Americans kill themselves every year. There's nearly 1 million divorces that happen in America every year. And the number one cause of suicide, the number one cause of divorce, the number one cause, in my opinion, of cancer is financial and credit problems. If we can fix the credit and financial problems, we can save lives, we can save marriages, and we can prevent people from getting cancer and all the other tremendous, horrible diseases. So I'm on a mission to spread that word. I'm on a mission to save people's lives. And so I created Fortress Credit Pro, America's first paid on results credit repair companies. And we actually allow you to hire us. We don't charge anything until after we do something for you. We don't charge you for credit report until after we get something deleted. And so it's truly paid on performance. But the 5 things that you need to do in order to have great credit is you need to have at least 3 open credit cards at all times. So here's a wallet of mine. You can see there's more than 3 there. But you need to have at least 3 open credit cards at all times. The reason that you need to have 3 credit cards is because FICO is trying to predict the future of you paying your bills on time. And they do this by seeing how responsible you are with your credit cards. See, if you have 1 credit card, it's pretty easy to manage. If you got 2 credit cards, a little bit harder. 3 credit cards, it is significantly more difficult to manage that credit properly, keep your balances low, and pay your payments on time. When you got these many credit cards, and this is just a portion of them, it can be extremely difficult to manage them. And which is why I teach you to put everything on autopilot, put everything on auto pay, make the minimum payments on every single card automatically every single month until you get the bill, and then you can pay it off in full. So rule number 1 is to have at least 3 open credit cards at all times. Number 2, never carry all of your credit cards with you at all times. This is simply a prop. I do not carry these cards. These cards normally stay in my safe. And the only reason that I have them in this wallet today is to prove a point to these TV producers. All right? Instead, your wallet should look something like this. A little bit of cash, 2 credit cards at the most. I carry 2 credit cards, a personal card and a business card. Now, the reason that you don't want to carry more than 2 credit cards at a time, such as in this wallet, is if I lose this, if someone steals it from me, or I simply misplace my wallet, or maybe in your case a purse, you got to call every single one of these companies, close them, they're going to issue you a new card, which then you got to call every single bill that you have on those cards, give them the new card, and it's a real royal pain in the butt. And it could take hours upon hours, and if you're a busy individual like most people are, you simply don't have time to be on hold for hours to get new cards. Now, that's not the worst of it. To add insult to injury, when you close those cards, they're going to close them on your credit report many times. And they're going to issue you a new account number, which shows up as a brand new credit card. And you can lose as much as 75 points because it's going to lower your average length of credit history, which is 15% of your credit score, or approximately 75 points. So it's a lose-lose situation. So don't carry more than 2 credit cards with you. 1, if you don't have a business. The third thing that you need to do is when you use your credit cards, never go over 10% of the credit limit or utilization rate, right? So don't go over 10% of the limit, because if you do, your scores go down. Now, I know the mortgage brokers, the realtors out there, the banks, they've all told you 30 to 50%. Now, why would a bank spread that misinformation around? 30 to 50%. Why? Because they make money charging you more interest. The more they charge, the more they make, right? The lower your credit score, the more they charge you. The more you use on a credit card, the more they charge you. And so they've told you for years, 30 to 50%. Give me some likes, give me some loves if you've heard that over the years, that 30 to 50%. Keep your balances at 30 to 50%. If you do that, your scores will go up. It is a lie. 10%, my friend. 10%. Now, if you're like me, you like to max out your card so you can get the points, you simply pay the card off before the report date. Now, how do you know the report date? You call the credit card company and say, hey, buddy, when do you report to the credit bureaus? That's all you got to say. When do you report? And they'll say, oh, we report on the 15th of every month, and your due date is on the 1st, or your due date's on the 20th. All right? The due date is irrelevant. You find out when they report. Because if you find out when they can report, then you pay it 3 days early, so that way it's a lower balance. Because if you max it out, pay it off in full on your due date, it's going to show maxed out continuously, because the credit bureaus are always 30 to 45 days behind the 8 ball. They're always behind. That's why not a single credit report on the face of this planet is accurate. In fact, I got a challenge for you. You ready for it? If you, my friend, show me your credit report, and there's not a single mistake on that credit report, not one, it is 100% accurate. Here's the only rule, if you actually have a credit score. If you're a Dave Ramsey follower and you have no credit whatsoever, or you're 17 years old, or you're a 50-year-old man that pays cash for everything, you don't qualify. But if you got a simple credit report with a score, and there is no mistake, and you send me proof, you send me a copy of your credit report, I'll give you $10,000 in cash. If you can show me a report with no mistakes, I'll give you $10,000 in cash. That is how confident I am that every single credit report out there has mistakes. So don't go over 10%. Number 4, stop using your freaking debit card. Now, I can't say that today on TV, so I'm going to say never use a debit card. The reason you don't want to use a debit card is when you use that stupid little debit card, it gives the world access to your checking account forever until you close it. And that's an issue. Because if you use your debit card, you know, my daughter used her debit card the last time she used it. I think she learned her lesson. She used her debit card at a casino, probably the safest place on the planet to use a debit card and an ATM machine. at a casino in Las Vegas where there's surveillance everywhere. Well, someone was able to put a phishing device, or skimming device rather, a skimming device in the casino's ATM, and when she slid in, typed in her numbers, they grabbed that information, and the next day she woke up for Mother's Day to an empty bank account. She's a single mom doing the best that she can with a deadbeat ex-husband that doesn't do shit to help her out, and she wakes up on Mother's Day with an overdrawn bank account, and it took her 6 weeks for Wells frickin' Fargo, the worst bank on the planet, voted the worst, most hated corporation in America in 2017, Wells Fargo. Took him 6 weeks to get my daughter's money back. 6 weeks. She had to prove to the bank that the charges all over the world were fraudulent. When you use a debit card, the bank doesn't give a shit about you. They make you prove to them that it was a fraudulent charge, and sometimes they don't believe you, and they keep your money. They give it to the fraudsters. When you use a credit card, on the other hand, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover, they're actually on your side. They're consumer friendly. They're not like the banks that don't give a shit about you. They will actually fight for you. They will almost immediately refund all that money and make the merchants prove that the charge was real. The last thing you need to do, if you're like 38% of American households that are not paying off their credit cards in full every month, that are carrying a balance, 38% of all American households carry a balance. Let that sink in. Not 38% of Americans, 38% of American households don't pay off their credit cards in full every month. If that's you, and most likely is, you got to stop using the credit cards. You know what do they say about if you want to get out of the hole, you got to stop digging? You got to stop digging. You got to stop using their cards, the credit cards. But you don't want to cut them up. You don't want to throw them away like Mr. Ramsey says. Instead, what you want to do is go to the grocery store, get you some hamburger. Right? Get you some hamburger. Now, here's the thing. Doesn't have to be organic beef. Doesn't have to be 95-5, 80-20, 70-30. The cheapest hamburger you can find is okay. And you're going to make yourself a credit card meatball. You're going to take those credit cards, you're going to open this package up, form a nice little patty, put the credit cards in the middle, smash it up, and make yourself a credit card meatball. Now, the reason that you do this is if you close the card, your scores are going to go down. If you cut them up and you need to use them in the future because your water heater goes out, your clutch goes out, your kid falls down and breaks his arm, and you got to use the card, you can't wait. If it's truly emergency, you can't wait till they send you a new one. So you simply go to the fridge, you thaw it out, and it's going to take some time. Now, I want it to take some time because if you're like 38% of American households and you're overspending, you need to think about your purchases. So if you're laying there watching TV, eating some Doritos, drinking some Coors Light, and you see this ab machine that's going to give you rock hard 6-pack abs, well, it's going to take you some time to get to that credit card because you can't throw it in the microwave. So you got to thaw it out, and it's going to take you a few hours, at least a few minutes, even if you put it in hot water. And that is going to prevent you from using those credit cards. Maybe you will think twice about your purchase. All right, my friend, I'm here getting ready to go into the building here to present my segment to 14 TV producers today. I got to figure out how to get a Here we go. I'm getting my parking ticket. If you do those things, you're going to save money. According to Money Magazine, the average American loses $4,200 a month due to missed opportunity, higher interest rates, higher car insurance, health insurance, life insurance, renter's insurance, mortgage insurance, property insurance. The lower your credit score is, the more money you lose, and the more important your credit is to you. Now, if you're a mega millionaire, credit's not that important. I met with Grant Cardone a year or so ago. Him and Brad Lee and I, and Grant's like, I don't even know what my credit score is. I don't care. Well, Grant, that's because you got $700 million. Dude, I promise he cares about his business credit. He doesn't care about his personal credit because he's got $700 million. Right? But I guarantee he's got good business credit. Otherwise, he wouldn't be flying around in that G6. He's got good business credit. He's got I shouldn't say horrible. He's got a low personal credit score. He's in the 600s, according to what he's told Brad and I. It doesn't matter to him. It doesn't matter because he's got $700 million. But if you, my friend, are like the average American, 76% of all Americans go paycheck to paycheck, 38% of all households don't pay off their credit cards. And so you're losing money. $300 you are throwing away every month. $300 you're throwing away every month due to your poor credit. It's kind of like this. You literally go, and listen, if you don't take my advice, here's what you're doing. Go into your wallet, if you got $100 bills, take them, and simply rip them in half in little pieces so you can't return them back to the bank. And that's what you're doing every single month. $4,200 a year, according to Money Magazine. $4,200 a year you're throwing away because you're using your debit card. You don't have 3 credit cards. You're overutilizing the credit cards you have. You're overspending. If you want to save $300 a month and make a difference in this world, take my advice. Do those 5 things. Of course it's real money. Someone says, is that real money? I practice what I preach. I use real money because if it was fake, it wouldn't have the same impact. I shred it in those little tiny pieces because it's going to be very difficult for me now to go to the bank and get new money. I practice what I preach. I carry 1 to 2 credit cards at all times. I don't use my debit card. I don't pay cash for everything. I have all my credit cards on auto payment. And I use them every month through little bills like Netflix, car insurance, cell phone, whatever. All right, I got to go. Got to go pitch these 14 TV producers. Hopefully I'll be on TV in your town soon. All right, see you later.